going to do a review of the AME tire valve tool, item number 51025. And what this is to insert a new valve stem into a tire where your old valve stem has broken off and you're unable to remove the tire from the wheel. So inside of this kit, we'll open it up and we'll just detail the parts that it comes with. So the first item is this hook tool, and this is used to remove the old valve stem from the wheel. There is a forcing cone that's used to insert a new valve stem. And then there's a valve stem tool, which it's a metal shaft that is drilled and threaded for a valve stem. And on the opposite end is a handle that threads onto it. And they include two valve stems for replacement, as well as an instruction sheet. So the problem with this wheel, it's a trailer tire, and the valve stem had broken off the last time that we went to put air in the tire. It had dry rotted. The remaining part of the valve stem had dropped inside of the wheel. Now, we can't show you this kit in detail, but we'll go through the steps, what we would do if the other portion of this valve stem was still intact or we were starting off without a completely damaged valve stem. So naturally you would remove the valve core to deflate the tire as much as possible, and then per the instructions, this hook tool would be worked in around the bottom of the valve stem, working it in and then rotating it 1/4 of a turn and then pulling it straight out to remove the valve stem. Now, with the valve stem removed, we have to also make note that this is only for trailer tires, tractor tires, things that do not have a tire pressure monitor or tire pressure sensor inside the wheel. So this is just for a basic valve stem replacement. As I noticed, the kit does come with two replacement valve stems. We have the insertion tool, and we also have the forcing cone that is used to reinsert the valve stem into the opening. Previous to purchasing this kit, I did buy two replacement valve stems, and one of the things that I noticed on the reviews is that it specifically says this kit is for a 0.453 inch diameter valve stem replacement. So that does appear to be the limitations of this kit. So I'm going to go with the two that I had purchased and see if it works with a brand that did not come with the kit. All right, so I'm going to remove the cap off of the valve stem. I'm going to thread it onto the insertion tool. And then the next thing, per the instructions, is we're going to use this forcing cone, and the theory behind this is the forcing cone is held up against the opening in the tire, and then with one quick blow, the valve stem is inserted into the wheel. But before we do that, they recommend using some hard grease or some brake caliper lubricant, and make sure that the valve stem is fully lubricated to ease its insertion back into the wheel. The instructions tell you to use some brake grease or hard grease to lube up the end of the valve stem to make it easier as it is pressed through the forcing cone. So we'll do that. And then on the forcing cone, the edge of it is chamfered to help it align with the opening in the wheel, and their instructions is just to line up the forcing cone and press the valve stem through the forcing cone into the tool, hopefully in one quick movement. All right, so just careful losing your balance. So the valve stem is inside the wheel, and they want you to work it back through. And I think the key to this is having the tire on a flat surface, the ground, so that you can use your upper body weight to push it in. having it on an elevated surface like a table, you may not be working with a good angle to get the pressure in. But if we get a close-up of this valve stem, we can see that it has nestled in around the wheel where it needs to be to seat itself. So I'll get a towel, clean up the grease off of the edges of it, and then we'll come back. All right, we have the valve stem reinserted into the wheel. And if we get a close-up over here, I'll just pull the valve stem off to the side just a little bit. And you can see that the recess is nestled in against the ridge around the wheel, so it is set correctly in place. The only thing we have to do now is air up the tire, and we're ready to put it back on the trailer and back into service. So what is our first impressions? Never using a tool like this, I think it's a good, expedient device to get a trailer tire or farm tractor tire back in service. It certainly doesn't substitute for the professional way of having it changed out with a tire machine, but for this purpose, I think it's a success. The only thing that we found out from its use is it's best to have the tire on the ground on the floor of your shop, and as you're kneeling over the tire, kind of at like a position of giving somebody CPR, you're over this tire, you're putting air back into the tire with this valve stem, and so you just need that upper body strength to push that valve stem through the forcing cone into the wheel. We did try to use it up here on the bench, but there just wasn't enough elevation, or the angles weren't working right to get that valve stem pressed back in. But once we put it down on the ground, you noticed in the previous clip I kind of lost my balance because I was pressing that valve stem through the cone. But that's something we know for next time, just position to get it inserted a little bit easier. But all in all, I think we have around $25, maybe $30 invested in this kit. Yes, same price as going to a tire shop to do the same job, but maybe you don't have that luxury with the job site that you're on. So thanks for watching, and if you're interested in this, it's again made by AME, and the website is www.ameintl.net, or just go to Amazon, so you can order it through there. So thanks for watching, and be safe.